Hi, it's Stacey Berger here, and I am here with a special guest today, Allie Stone from Inspired Leader. And we're going to be talking about leadership and your journey in entrepreneurship as well. And I'm really looking forward to it. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited. I have to say I've been watching your journey too, and you're definitely very inspiring to me and one of those women I've been learning from. So I'm really excited to be here today. It's going to be a fun conversation.
Well, I saw you speak at an event. I think we were both speaking at an event, and there were some things that really spoke to me about your journey. And I would love to, first of all, hear about entrepreneurship.
Sure.
And were your family members entrepreneurs? Did you always want to own your own business? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah. You know what? I actually watched your interview with Dorothy Briggs, and you were asking her this question too. And I was like, where did it come from?
Yeah.
So my mom was an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
but not by choice.
Okay.
So my parents got divorced when we were quite young,
Yeah.
and she was kind of thrust into like figuring it out.
Yeah.
Deadbeat dad, all the things, whatever. But my mom, she tried a few different jobs and careers and realized she couldn't make the money she needed to support the two of us. And so what she ended up doing was buying her own hair salon in the town of Stony Plain.
Okay.
She had it for over 25 years. And so kind of managed her own business, but on a really small scale. And so I never really thought about it as entrepreneurialism. And I remember watching her go through that experience and really grind it out, be there all the time, deal with the turning of other hairdressers and trying to fill those chairs and the struggle she went through. And it never really landed for me that was what she was doing until I became an entrepreneur. And so it's been an interesting reflection for me, for sure.
I have so much more respect for my mom today because my parents own their own business. And because I watched them, I went, I never want to do that, right? It was hard. And now I look at, she was running a business, she had 3 kids, they had a big acreage, like, holy smokes. And I appreciate that so much more today than I ever did.
But once you grow up, you realize all of the effort that goes in behind that. So did I ever want to be an entrepreneur? No, I don't think so. It wasn't my a dream. I don't really know what my dream was, to be honest. So when I graduated high school, I remember thinking, I need to go to post-secondary. I don't know what that is because of everything that happened in my family. We didn't come from a lot of money. So if I was going to school, I had to pay for it. And so I wasn't quick to jump on that bus because I didn't want to be in that debt and do something that I didn't know was going to be my long term, right? Yeah. And so I found myself in hospitality, which I think a lot of people do out of high school. And it was incredible. I made a ton of money. I was able to live the life I wanted to live. And it was pretty cool because I had a interesting way of doing it because I was actually quite smart with my money. And so I traveled a lot and did really cool things and would buy my car with cash and not have, you know what I mean? All those kind of things that you couldn't do if you worked at Safeway, right? Right. So it was pretty cool. And then at 22 years old, this opportunity came up to buy into the Original Joe's franchise. And it was presented to my husband and I, and then boyfriend at the time. So no marriage.
So he was your boyfriend at the time.
Yes.
Got it.
And we were talking about buying a restaurant together. Looking back, you're stupid 22-year-olds, right? And we're so we went to the bank and asked for money to buy into this location, and they laughed us out the door because we were 22, and they were absolutely not, get out of here.
Was he working in the restaurant?
He was. And so that was how we had met each other. And it was one of those interesting things with my husband too, because when I met him, I remember being pretty sure I'm going to marry this guy, but this is really weird and I don't really know how to explain this, right? And so it was just kind of one of those things we were in. So we couldn't get the money for it. We went to his parents and they gave it to us. And on the condition,
them. What was the condition?
That we paid it back at a high monthly return. Higher than a mortgage payment. We were renting a house at the time. I remember we basically ate craft dinner on the floor. We couldn't do anything. All of our money went to paying that back. And it was a risk. So that first restaurant did not do well. I remember sitting down and talking to Chris, a couple months in and saying, what are we going to do? This is not good right now. There's nobody here. So it was the Original Joe's Terwilliger in Riverbend. And at that point when they built it, we were looking at a farmer's field. So
Location. Yeah.
which they knew
They
was
knew.
coming,
Yeah.
but not for like 5 years.
And you
right?
didn't have the cash to support the wait.
No.
Yeah.
And so that's when I got really passionate about leadership and entrepreneurship and like, what does it actually take to make something succeed? Because I was like, if we don't try, we can't just sit on our laurels right now. We have to sit down and really try to figure out what this looks like to run this company and how are we going to make this successful? And so that sent both of us on a pretty crazy journey.
Yeah.
Original Joe's, unbeknownst to us, was going to go through explosive growth over the next decade. So after 10 years, they would have the franchise would have 98 locations. We, as our group, would end up opening over, like, I think close to 50 of them.
Wow.
And then we would have 17 units under our belt. So it was a wild journey.
And that was in a 10-year.
It was in about a 10-year span. So we built this $50 million a year company with 550 team members and just had this like crazy ride of what it takes to build a business.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So did you keep the Terwilliger location?
Yeah, we still have 50% shareholding in it
Okay.
today. So we've kind of moved out of some of it, and as I'm not like working in them anymore, but yeah, that's the baby, right?
Yeah.
That's like where it all started. And so we have such fond memories of that store. If you go into that store, in one of the corners, you'll see a painting of a dog.
Okay.
And it's our dog Denver. He's actually my tattoo on my on my leg. And so we had him for 17 years. We got him the year Terwilliger opened. And of course, we're like, this is a stupid decision because we're running this restaurant. So we're nearly getting kicked out of our condo that we're renting because this beagle is like major separation anxiety and he's howling all day while we're working. So we have to start taking him with us
To a restaurant.
I've got him in a crate in the back.
Yeah.
And he's okay.
Yeah.
And then the neighbors at the wine store found out. And so they actually took him for months. Like this dog grew up there. So he was like part of the whole story. And so when he passed away, all the GMs got together and they commissioned this painting of him. Anyway, it hangs on the wall. So, I mean, there's just like so much lore and story and like experience to all of it. So,
Yeah.
you know, it was such a beautiful time in my life. I loved it.
Yeah. And so going from working in the restaurant to owning the restaurant, like, so employee to owner, and you were probably so naive, which was probably an asset, right? Because you didn't know what to worry about, I would imagine.
Yeah. No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no education. I kept going to Chris, like, somebody's got to go get an MBA. Who's going to get an MBA? But there was like no time. None of us were getting an MBA because we were opening another restaurant next month, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm always like, I have a master's in business and I may not use the same verbiage as everybody else, but I can run circles around you talking about how to run a business. Right?
I say the same thing. I got my master's. I feel like I got my master's in a real world experience.
Yeah.
And I know it's different, but sure felt like that.
It's so fun though, right?
Yeah.
Like I actually think, while I do value the education, I actually think that real world experience is what makes us, you know, and that's what helps us really understand what makes us tick, what makes the world tick, what's going to make our people tick.
Yeah. So what did you love about it?
Oh my gosh. Like a lot.
That's not an easy business.
No.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let me back something up here too. So when we had that opportunity to buy in, I remember saying no to Chris. I was like, I do not want to own a restaurant.
Yeah.
They traditionally are known for not treating people well.
Yeah.
We weren't treated well. You know, people have to fight for hours. You don't get benefits, like all of these things. And I was like, I don't really want to be that kind of employer for people. And so when we went into it, we decided to do it differently. So we decided to pay people overtime to eventually get benefits, even for our frontline today. Frontline team members have the options to get benefits in Original Joe's in our group and, you know, all of those things. But the big piece for Chris and I was like, we wanted to create a place where people felt like they belonged. And so culture became such a big part of the experience. And as the organization grew, I kind of moved out of more of like an operational role into, it was the director of leadership development and culture was what we called me.
So you created that position because you knew how important it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so like the last 10 years of my time, so I spent about 17 years building those restaurants. And the last 10 years of that time, I was in that role. And all I did was help people learn and grow, coach without having any kind of coaching training or certification. When I got a coach training, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I've been doing all of this. And now I just have this like deep understanding of it all.
Yes.
Right? And then I built out a whole bunch of different leadership development programs that I was using inside the organization to mostly help people with culture, connection, team building, all of those kinds of things. And truthfully, we built something really magical over those years. I remember near the end of my tenure, we didn't even really have to go look for team members. Like there was just always a bench. People always came to us. There was like this feeling or like this energy around our group where people wanted to work in the restaurants, which was like such a cool indicator of all the effort we'd put into it. So
what do you think was at the center of that created that?
Care. Care, really, at the end of the day, there was nothing but like I woke up every single day, and both Chris and I, it was all about the people.
Yeah.
Like we were always like, this business wouldn't exist without the people that work with us, for us, that are a part of this organization. And so with that understanding and that intention every day, that was how we went into work. And it honestly, Stacey, it was so beautiful. Like I could tell you, like, we don't have 3 hours, but we had some of the most incredible experiences. Halfway through our tenure, Chris came up with this idea to build a food truck. I'll give you a kind of little short story about it, but he was like, let's build this food truck. And I was like, no, I don't want to build a food truck. I don't want to be driving around a food truck. Anyway, so he's like, I have this idea. He's like, I don't want to sell food on the side of the street. I just want to build a food truck that we take care of people through. And I was like, okay, well, tell me more. And so we kind of sat down and talked about it. We took it back to our team. You could hear a pin drop in the room. They were like, oh my God, this idea is like amazing. So we ended up building this food truck. It's called the Original Joe's Heart Card. It still exists. You might see it rolling around sometimes. And really the meaning or the intention behind it was to take care of people who take care of people. And through that action, our team would create the experience. So somebody would come to me and say, hey, Allie, my mom's been in the hospital with MS for the last month, and I really want to take care of the doctors and nurses that have been on our shift. Can we do that? I know. I cried every time, I will tell you. Profoundly changed my life. And so I'd be like, yeah, we can do that, but you're coming and you're going to help execute it. And so they would come and we would show up and we would surprise these people. And I just like, I can't even tell you, profoundly changed my life.
And so the team members would basically say, here's somebody who I think deserves this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So on this Saturday right now, for the time we're sitting in, it's actually rolling out to the Edmonton Pride Parade. And it's going to take care of all of the 350 volunteers that help put that festival on this weekend, because diversity and inclusion were just such a big part of our mission too. So yeah.
Ow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, there's so many stories.
Well, and I can just imagine when you create a culture like that, it's the ripple effect and the power of that. And I'm sure you probably have contact with employees that
For life.
For life.
Yeah, they become your friends for life. And that's really, most people would say that's not normal, right? When you employ somebody.
Well, and for you to be able to do it at scale, like it's one thing if you're working side by side with somebody every day in a little mom and pop shop, but when you're able to do that at scale, you obviously were able to create processes and systems and to do that and leverage it.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is understanding what your capacity is as a leader, what you can affect, and then have leaders. It's like an umbrella. Like the leaders that I worked directly with needed to believe in what we were doing. And then and it was just like a ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
And also when it hit, I hate the word the bottom, but like the front line, it also reverberated back up.
Yeah.
Right. And so there was this really cool experience of energy flowing through the entire organization. That's pretty neat.
That.
Yeah.
So did people start knocking on your door and say, hey, we see you're doing something cool. Can you come teach us how to do that? Tell me a little bit about transitioning into leadership.
So a little bit of that started happening. So people would take these programs with me and then they would go work at Enbridge. And then somebody would call me and be like, hey, what was this? What are you teaching in restaurants about? Inspired leadership and whatever. And, it was an interesting conversation because I was like, I don't really want to go do anything. Like, I don't really want to consult or work with other companies. Like, I was really happy where I was.
Yeah.
And in 2018, my husband actually got sick. So I know you know a little bit of this story, but basically what happened was he became a competitive marathon runner over the years. And 2018, we went to Tokyo. So he's trying to run all 6 of the world majors. So I don't know if you know anything about marathoning. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Not a lot, but it's
Okay.
It's a whole world.
It's okay. Yes, it's a whole world. I am not a marathoner.
Me
but I've
neither.
been bore witness to it.
Yes.
So, if you run all 6 of these world majors, you get this like big thing, and you're like on this list around the world. Anyway, he wanted to accomplish this.
Okay.
So, Tokyo and Berlin were the last 2, and so we went to Tokyo, and I actually remember when we got to Tokyo knowing something was wrong. So I talk about this a lot now, working with women and like our intuition and how important that is in our business.
Yes.
But I knew, and that was one of the like biggest, what would the word be? Like disservices that I did to myself in the moment of all of that happening. So I knew something was wrong. I even remember like kind of mentioning it to him, but like really softly being like, are you sure are you okay? Yeah. Like one of those, instead of being like, you're like, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Deep down, I know. So anyway, he goes and he runs this marathon. He had trained to run a sub 2:30 marathon, which is like almost Olympic time.
Yeah.
He ran it in 2 hours and 32 minutes. And then the night after the marathon, I woke up in the middle of the night and he was in a coma in the bed beside me and he almost died. So the only reason I knew too was because I woke up and I remember I was like freezing. And I was like, and I felt my body and the whole back of my body was soaking wet. And I was like, what the is going on?
Yeah.
And I remember scrambling and trying to turn the light on and seeing that it was him. He was like completely white, soaking wet. He had soaked the entire bed. And then like shaking him and trying to wake him up, and he wasn't waking up. So multiple things around that. I mean, you're in a country where you can't speak the language.
Were you with a team or was it just the two of you there?
Just the 2 of us.
There.
Yeah, just the 2 of us. So probably one of the most terrifying experiences I've ever had in my life. By the time I got him to a hospital, he was conscious, which was good.
Yeah.
But neurologically, he had changed. And so he had no idea where we were. He had no idea he'd run a marathon. He was very delirious, maybe for the right way to describe it. I felt like I was living in the Twilight Zone. Like it was just such a weird thing. I remember getting to the hospital and he was like awake and I was like, hey, you guys need to see him. You need to see him. And people are talking to me in Japanese and they're pointing to this machine and they wouldn't actually like see him until I put my credit card into this machine. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. And so we actually ended up finding a young girl a Japanese girl who had gone to nursing school in Vancouver, and I paid her to be my translator all day.
Wow.
And stay beside me. And then when we got back to Canada, nobody could read any of the reports because everything was in Japanese. So anyway, it was a whole journey.
Did he know who you were?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was nobody actually really knows what happened to him. But they call it now functional neurological disorder. There was some speculation around that maybe it was encephalopathy.
Okay.
So I guess there's mosquitoes in Japan that bite you that create this delirium, which is absolutely petrifying.
Okay.
They don't tell you these things. They actually vaccinate for it now in this day and age.
Okay.
And it causes that delirium if you get that infection from that mosquito. So anyway, by the time, Chris got treatment back in Canada and they looked at it, he was too far gone. So basically he lost all of the memory centers in his brain. His short term completely gone and his long term's pretty spotty. So it's almost like a hard break in the story.
Okay.
From the night of that marathon forward. He doesn't really remember anything. So it's been a pretty wild journey and he never went back to work. So, which ties into where we're going in that story, but that's the whole reason I started to shift. So
he can remember pre-marathon?
Quite a bit.
Yeah. But post-marathon, no memory. So what does that mean day to day?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
I just spent 2 days in Drumheller with my sister and my nephews. And I didn't take Chris intentionally because I knew it would be too hard for him, too many moving pieces, and he needs like calm. But I also walked back in the house and I could tell that he was struggling, I think because he had been alone, and it's hard for him, right? It's really hard to go through your day to day and not know where you just like put down that glass of water or you put your phone, or it's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. And so no recovery of memory. And so and I'm trying to understand because I have no relationship.
Away, anything.
Yeah. So can remember seconds, minutes, depends, or just really present moment?
Really present moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that?
2018. So 7 years ago.
Yeah.
February 26th.
Wow.
Never forget that day. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was,
and are you at the peak of Original Joe's at that point? Like things are moving and shaking and you've got dreams and you have plans and...
I mean, we've bet our entire lives on this at this point. Like we have all of our eggs in one basket. We're both running this company.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we get back from Japan and I don't really know what to tell people in the organization. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on with him. Yeah. So we're kind of hiding at home, which I don't know, like was looking back as a leader was like the best decision, but I didn't really know what else to do. I was in total crisis mode.
Yeah.
And I remember people started hearing rumors that we were home and that Chris wasn't well. And it started after a couple weeks I was home. I would be like kind of just in the house and I would hear the doorbell ring and I'd go to the door and nobody would be there. But there would be like a fresh baked loaf of bread and then like a card signed by an entire team. It happened like every week until like a month later, I opened my door and there was 3 months of freezer meals individually packed on our doorstep. I remember I had so many feelings about it because we had spent our entire lives taking care of them. Yeah. And I didn't want them to take care of me, but they wanted nothing more than to like take care of us. And it was like, it's a lot. So, I mean, just like all
to be able to accept that support. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you'd created that culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it was this direct reflection of all of the work, the love, the care that we had put into it. Like, they wanted nothing more than to figure out a way how to give that back. And so obviously Chris didn't recover. I went back and ran the organization. And about 2 weeks in, I had a complete nervous system breakdown, of course. I mean, who wouldn't? Yeah. So then I was on this journey of trying to heal myself and figure out what it looked like to be like a woman in business and be healthy and whole and be able to like function at this high level. Yeah. But still like know me, because I felt like I didn't even know who I was anymore. Right. And so it was actually that journey of that recovery that made me recognize that I wasn't the same. I was a different person. Yeah. And I was trying to be something that I wasn't any longer, and that my values had shifted. And when I was able to like really understand what that was, I was like, this isn't for me anymore, which was devastating beyond words.
Because you loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they all know that. I think they get it. But not only did they lose Chris, they lost me. Yeah. So they had to go through this like double loss in the organization. And it shifted everything, truthfully.
Which is grieving. Like it's real grief, right? Yeah. And you probably wanted to stay for them when your inner voice is saying something different.
I was actually like getting sick. Yeah. Thinking about going to work, like I would feel nauseous. And I was like, what's going on? And you know how you push yourself through? Yes. You're like, it's okay.
Back to that intuition piece, right? Your body's talking to you, you're getting the messages and just ignoring it. Yeah. So was there a decision moment where, like, do you remember that moment where you said it's time to do something different, or was it a progression?
That's a really good question. There were signs along the way. So, I got asked to go speak at an event. And so I didn't speak at this time. This was not a thing.
Yeah.
And now I speak on stages across Canada and the US, right? So this is like, and I did not want this. This was like hard no for me. I was like, I don't.
There's a theme here, Allie.
I fight the things the universe gives me.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I've been putting a lot of thought into that myself too, like, because I'm such a believer that our thoughts create our reality.
Yeah.
And I spent so much time thinking about this. I spent a week at Joe Dispenza last fall, and the shift, like the energetic, the profound shift I had walking out of that week, like I actually didn't want to leave the retreat because I was like, I don't want to go back to the real world because where I'm living right now is so good for my heart and soul. And I know that it's projecting into a future that I'm going to love, and it's coming to fruition. But anyway, side note, I'm working on it. I need some of your coaching, Stacey. And so it was a friend of mine, and he was running this like business summit, and he's like, just come, like, it won't be a big deal. And I get there and he's like, hey, you're going to do this breakout room. There's going to be about 150 CEOs in it. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. So I remember telling my sister, I was like, you have to come with me because I'm totally getting tomatoed out of this room. This is not going to go well. Start the car, you know, all the things. We're cracking jokes the whole way up. So anyway, the night before, we're in the hotel room. She's like, hey, go through your talk with me. And we go through it. And my sister is amazing. She's like, we're kind of going through it. And she's like, is this actually what you want to say? And I was like, I don't know. Like, and I had crafted something that was very like what I thought the world would want to hear, but not my actual story and my feelings of what had happened. And so she challenged me. We stayed up till 3 a.m. recrafting it.
A gift.
Right?
What a gift.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I had no idea because I couldn't practice it. So I had to read it all off paper the next day and like all the things. But I delivered it twice, and both times at the end I looked up and there wasn't a dry eye in the room. It took me like 2.5 hours to get out of the room each time, talking to all of these leaders, and they were like, oh my God, like, how did you create this? So this has been like trying to create this our whole lives, you know?
Yeah.
And then my sister came up to me after and she was like, so what do you think happened there? I was like, I don't know. I'm just like totally overwhelmed. And she's like, there was something magical that happened there. And she's like, you need to pay attention to it. And of course I still didn't, right? Like you're getting the theme, right? I was like, yeah, that's nice. I mean, I took it all. I took all the energy and I was like, this was beautiful.
Yeah.
But I also like, I don't know how to be a speaker or get paid to do this, or like, that seems like a long journey that I'm not going on.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the start of it. And it didn't transpire right after that, but I ended up with a mentor who trained me to speak and then took me a little bit on his circuit. And then it just kind of took off from there. So yeah,
amazing.
It's been a wild journey for sure. Yeah.
And are you loving it?
I am. Yeah, I am. I think there's this piece in all of this where I need to figure out how to stay authentic. And I know what it is. I know why I didn't want to be a speaker. And this is nothing against other speakers, but often we are kind of like coerced or told to get into a groove or a certain space or a certain way of speaking that at some point becomes inauthentic or disingenuous. And you know it when you see that speaker step on stage. And I just don't ever want to be that person because authenticity is for me, everything. It's for me is everything. So,
but the fact that you know that is what makes you a great speaker because you're humbled to that, right?
Yeah. And so I have to keep staying with that, right? And staying in that. And the bigger stages I step on and the more times I'm asked to speak, the more times I need to be like, okay, like what is the real like grassroots of this story?
Yeah.
And one thing I've realized about speaking is it's not about me. It's a gift to the audience every single time. And it's like, how can my story help them see that they can also have the life they dream of, right?
I believe that's two things that make the difference between somebody who's great and you know it is they're living what they're teaching. Mm-hmm. And you've obviously lived it. So it's not just I read about this or I'm thinking about this. So living what you teach and then making it about the people you're serving.
Yeah.
So if you keep doing those two things, it's brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So tell us about today and what you're doing and what that looks like. What's the new iteration of that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I started a company called The Inspired Leader.
Yeah.
My goal was to be an executive coach for female leaders and entrepreneurs. I was like, if I know two things, it's a woman in business and probably building and scaling a business. I can do those things. So that was where I started. And it was a really incredible journey. I built a really successful coaching practice. And again, came to the place where I was like, I don't know if I'm totally fulfilled in this. So I think this is my life's journey, is just to keep evolving in all of it, which is fine.
Yeah.
And that was when the speaking really started to open up. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to lean into this and see where this all goes for the next little while. And so it's been, the last 24 months has been the really intense uptick on the speaking. So it's actually been about 50% of my business.
Okay.
And then I started running some women's wellness and leadership events because I really wanted to create a space where women could come together, connect, grow. Spaces like I hear you create. I'm coming to yours. I haven't been yet.
Good. I'm coming to yours one of these days too. It'll work out.
It'll all work out. But yeah, this for us as women, I think we really need this. I think we really need spaces where we can remove the mask of competition, heal the old wounds that we have towards each other, and really take care of each other. Because I really believe a rising tide lifts all boats. And I think for us as women, we are magical and we have amazing superpowers. And if we lean into them and support each other in them, oh man, the world is our oyster.
It's exciting, isn't it? Yeah.
And I see it all the time.
Yeah.
And so my hope is to continue to keep creating and cultivating spaces for women to do that.
I love that. And I think it's so important to know that there's people like you and me doing this work, and people who are doing their own work. And I just believe so much that this planet's going to be okay because people like you are doing what you're doing.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes.
And we need more of that feminine energy back into the world because we had such a shift in masculine. And I think we need both. And I absolutely I love men. I'm married to a man. But I also think men have a lot of spaces to come together and do these things. And that's why they have been successful. And women need to cultivate these spaces now too, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah. How has that journey been? So again, full spectrum success. I'm a big believer. So how are you navigating being a wife and running the business, and how do you take care of yourself, and what does that look like in your world?
It's always a journey. Oh my gosh. That was why I went to Drumheller, because I was like, I just need a little break. And I feel like my summer has been really intense. So my business has been on the most intense uptick. So the last 24 months have just been wild for the company. I almost feel my eye twitch as I say it, because I'm like, oh my gosh, because I think about it a lot. Like, what do you do? How do you manage this? What has to be delegated? What did you do in Original Joe's that you need to do differently here? Like, you're kind of bringing that up, but this is not the same beast, right? And so what got me here is not going to get me to where I want to go. And so I'm constantly processing those thoughts in my head. And I'm unapologetically selfish about taking care of myself.
Good.
I don't care.
I love that.
I was go to Florida and lay on the beach with a speaking engagement where most people are like, you got paid to go there, you should come home and bring the money home. I'm like, no, I'm going to go lay on the beach because I also deserve that. Right. And I'm all the way down there anyway. So you only live once.
I love that.
So I mean, I'm not afraid to take care of myself, but sometimes I have to be reminded, because it can be so easy, as I'm sure you feel that too sometimes, that you can feel like there's so much going on that you need to be there for your people. And well, especially when you love what you do, right? I can imagine you wanted to be at the restaurants, you wanted to be around your people, you wanted to be doing the things because it fueled you. But it's not sustainable. No, absolutely not. So so I mean, I think I'm on a pretty big journey again right now. Lots of days it's not pretty, it's messy. And I'm trying to figure out what commitment levels look like and all of those things. So, but I just try to have fun. And you know what, honestly, I wake up every day and I think, man, I'm so grateful to be alive. I'm so grateful to still have my husband, even though it doesn't look the same or the way that I want it to be. And I'm so grateful for this business that I'm building. And so with that kind of energy, everything works itself out.
I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. So good. You have an event coming up, so tell us about that.
Yeah, so October 17th and 18th.
Yeah.
It's called Inspire and Awaken. It's at the Royal Glenora.
Yeah.
So that's that women's event that I was alluding to. So I'm only going to do them once a year moving forward, and I'm going to do them on like a large scale. So there'll be about 250 women at this event. We've hired keynote speakers from all over North America. Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be fun. One of our keynote speakers is even coming from New Orleans. I met her on on my circuit. Like all of the speakers I brought in, I've met at conferences that I've spoke at. So that's been kind of a cool part of that journey. So all new speakers coming into Edmonton that the women haven't seen. It'll be really cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about self-leadership.
Sure.
So one thing to lead a team and a group, and I think one of the pieces that holds people back is that ability to lead themselves and to do what's required in order to move forward. So what would you say to somebody who's struggling with that?
Yeah, I think it's the reason most entrepreneurs fail. And I think, I don't know if you see this, I bet you do though. You're gonna be like, a lot of entrepreneurs will pull the ripcord right when it gets what they feel like is too hard.
Yeah.
But that's the moment where I feel like the universe is testing them to be like, do you really want this?
Yes.
Right?
It's the qualifier.
It's the qualifier. Yeah. You have to go through the coals. You just have to, I think.
Yeah.
And that looks different for everybody. But I think that self-leadership is much harder than leading people. But I will say that if you don't understand what self-leadership is and you're leading people, your people will eventually lose confidence in you as well. So they're very intertwined. It's kind of like this holistic ecosystem.
Yeah.
But I always said, even at Original Joe's, like we should never be leading other people if we can't first lead ourselves. And so much of that for me, and I can really only speak from my own personal experience, but so much of that for me is the coaching.
Yeah.
Becoming aware, having those awarenesses in my life, and then asking myself what I want to do with them. Because without the awareness, I can't make a change.
Yeah.
We're all walking around with blinders on, right? We live in our box, in our camera lens, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to continue to expand that aperture, to peel the blinders back, to take back the layers of the onion.
Yeah.
That's our work.
Yeah.
And the more we do that, the more successful we'll become, the more authentic we'll feel, the more happy we will be, all of those things. But it's not the easy path. So I always say that.
Yeah. I always say simple, not easy.
Yes.
Simple, not easy.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see your own blinders.
Yeah.
And so that's why coaching and having that outside perspective is so important, because it's really tough to see your own stuff.
I've had a coach for a decade.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be where I am now without it. Yeah.
I actually tell people never hire a coach that doesn't have a coach.
Too. Yes. It's so important.
It's so important.
Yes. Yeah. I think, a lot of the people who watch your show are often aspiring entrepreneurs or leaders in some capacity. And I think even just if they take anything out of this conversation, I would just like to remind them that they can do it. I know times are going to get hard. Times have been hard for me. They're hard again right now. It's kind of like choose your hard, right? Yeah. Chris used to always say, there's nothing more important in life than betting on yourself. Mm-hmm. And I was always like, when I was young, I didn't really get it. And now I'm like, no, screw that. I'm betting on myself every day. And I think anybody who watches this, bet on you. Yeah. Because it's the best bet you'll ever make in your life.
Great. Yeah. Great. I love that. Yeah. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you for walking your talk and for the light that you're bringing to the planet and the good that you're doing. Very, very inspiring.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful. Thank you.
There's lots and lots of gold nuggets here, but all you need is one idea. So what's one idea from Allie that you can take and implement in your life to really go bet on yourself? I love that. I'm Stacey Berger, transformational coach in life and business. Here is to you living a life that you love.